Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today and welcome to this session on easy hair, a topic I think we're all into right now. Needless to say, the past year has been challenging and all of us have been looking for ways to simplify our life, including our hair routine while still looking great. We have an amazing panel of celebrity hairstylists and experts who are going to offer some amazing tips on a very wide range of topics pertaining to easy hair. Before we get into it, just a few housekeeping notes. Um, you're welcome to leave comments in the chat. Just remember it is public and this is a positive Zoom video, so let's keep the negativity out. We will have 30 minutes of discussion and then the last 10 minutes will be open to questions. And finally, I would like to thank our presenting sponsor, Mary Kay, for making today possible. So let's get into our amazing panel of experts. So first off, we have David Babai, and he is a stylist who has worked with Nicole Kidman, Angelina Jolie, and he is also the founder of NP Beautiful Hair Care and Hair Tools. We have Felicia Leatherwood, who is another amazing stylist who works on HBO's Insecure. She works with Lenny Kravitz, NBD, and she is also the founder and creator of the Felicia Leatherwood detangling brush, which is an amazing tool that works across all hair textures, but particularly the curly and coily girls love it. Next, we have Tommy Bucket, another amazing celebrity hairstylist who works with Nina Dobrev, Elizabeth Moss, Rachel Brosnahan, and he also works at Serge Normant Salon in New York. And then last but not least, we have Helen Reevy, and she works with Harry Styles, another NBD celeb, and is also the founder of Acton Acre, which is an amazing hair care and scalp care brand. So welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us today on this lovely Saturday. So let's get into it. First off, what is your go-to look when you have not a lot of time and something that, you know, like the everyday person could do? Felicia, let's start off with you.
So my go-to look is this,
Love
but
it.
this is my 80s side pony. I just need roller skates, that's all. But really a ponytail. I think that's pretty much everybody's go-to. It's one of the things you can always rely on and you can make it look better by adding accessories and things like that, pulling a little hair down on the side. So it's definitely the pony for me.
You know, nostalgia's in, so I'm loving the side pony. David, how about you?
I am a braid person, so either I'll do a braid or I'll take a braid and make it into a messy bun, or a messy bun in the back. You know, a couple of bobby pins and a rubber band. You're good to go.
Right, what can't the bobby pin do, you know?
Seriously, yeah. Always carry a couple of bobby pins and a rubber band. You're good.
Helen, what do you think?
I'll definitely echo what Felicia said about the fast ponytail. And I watched Felicia do this while we were waiting, and it took her 2 seconds. It was incredible. I was like, how the hell are you doing it that fast? But for myself personally, I don't love a ponytail in my own hair, so I will do something like I'll braid it, like David said, but when it's like damp, and then take it out, and like I'll have walked to studio or walked to get a coffee, and by the time I'm back, it's just got this beautiful natural wave in it, and I haven't needed to do anything else.
And Tommy, what about you?
The ponytail, high ponytail, like a medium ponytail, a low ponytail. It's just so quick, and you can make it look super polished, or you can make it look a little edgier. It's just like a go-to. It's like so easy.
All right, so audience, ponytail, you cannot go wrong according to these four experts. So what about some small tweaks that you can make to your existing hairstyle that can kind of like elevate it? David, what do you think?
I think if you've got like wavy texture kind of hair, a little bit of beach spray, you know, throughout the day, and, you know, just build up slowly, slowly. So you've got more of a fuller, funner, sexier feel for the evening. Or again, this new trick that I kind of learned the other day was with, you know, you take, what is it called? Cotton ball strips, just wrap it around. It'll dry your hair faster. And by the end of the day, you've got like this full bouncy, sexy hair.
Amazing. Yeah, so much easier than using a curling iron.
Totally.
Felicia, what do you think?
So I tend to really be into, always go back to just like accessories. So for me, I can simply do a double strand twist. And I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but it's basically just taking your hair and then just twisting it, even when it's wet, and letting it go, like Helen was saying, and then having that beach wave or that wave, but also the accessories. Like, you know, the brooches that our grandmas used to wear.
Mhm.
Taking those brooches and putting them in your hair can be so exciting, and it can turn up the look a bit. So I'm really into like hair jewelry.
I wish I asked my grandma for her brooches now. Tommy, what do you think?
I think a really quick thing to elevate any kind of style would be shine. I'm really into shine sprays, or putting a little oil in your hair to make it look and reflect the light a little more, to make it look a little more luxe and expensive. It's so easy. You can do it on like your dry hair or like an old blow dry or anything like that. Like, it just instantly makes the hair look healthier.
Yeah, that's definitely a good tip for Zoom too, where I think everything kind of just looks dull, whether it's your hair, your face, just,
Yeah.
filters aren't great. Helen, what do you think?
I love like just the texture sprays, but I'll make my own with like water and a little bit of oil. So like years ago, I would have used, the face mists and just spritz a little bit. So like applying those kind of same rules where that'll freshen your makeup, freshen your face. I'll just freshen up the ends of my hair and it'll give it a little texture, a little bit of shine with the oil in it, and you're good to go, I think, right?
Yeah, I love that.
Definitely. So a lot of times, curly hair, specifically 4A to 4C, like really coily hair types, are often left out of the narrative of easy hair. And, with those hair types, it does take some trial and error to find the routine that's right for you on wash day. So I'm wondering what are some tips for these hair types, and what does easy hair mean for like coily and kinky hair? Felicia, let's start off with you.
So, you know, we call it natural hair, of course. And natural hair, I'm going to be very honest, is not always easy. You do have to do things to it, opposed to straight hair. Straight hair, you can kind of wake up, kind of go brush it. Textured hair or natural hair, you want to put more definition into it, so you need to find the right product. And it really does depend on like the density of your textured hair, or like if it's thin, or how tight the coil is. So what I do is I really try to pair the right products with the texture. So the threes, which are the curly girls, they tend to love gels and mousses better. The fours, which I'm a four, it's the kinky, coily hair. We love creams and butters better. Gels tend to shrink our hair so much, and that we don't get that volume or the length that we want. And so we have to manipulate it by twisting the hair with a butter or a cream. But a lot of times, creams versus gels get a bad rap. So some people go, I hate gels. They dry my hair out. They do this, they do that. Well, gels are supposed to hold the hairstyle. The ingredients in the gel product is to hold the texture. So if your hair is tightly coiled, it's going to shrink it. And I often tell women the gel is there to hold the style, right, in place. So you have something you're doing all day and you're not going to be able to go home and refresh, use the gel. But if you want to have moisture and seal in the hair and get that shine, then use the cream. The hairstyle won't last long, but the hair will feel softer.
That's a really good breakdown because I definitely feel like there's a lot of confusion as to what product type should I use, what should like why isn't this working for me? So that those are really great tips. Helen, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think like what Felicia's saying there, like it's all about giving it moisture, lots of butters, and trying to stay away from the silicone heavy products because they're going to straighten it, and kind of replace that with more glycerin butters like maru or lots of different, you know, things that are really going to hydrate it. And if you want to do like home remedies like aloe vera, just put it in the blender, hydrate the hair that way as well. But it's about trying not to use too many products that will weigh it down, because that's going to, like, you know, ruin kind of like the curl pattern over time. But like I have a natural texture in my own hair, not obviously very coily, but it's from removing a lot of products like the silicones and sulfates, parabens. My natural texture is starting to come back now even more, and so that's really important as well.
Definitely. Yeah, so when you think about easy hair, like hacks, like the word hacks like always come to mind or like thrown next to easy hair. So dry shampoo has like always been said, is like the go-to like hack for like an easy way to refresh your hair, your style. And it kind of has a bad rap now that like people are starting to focus on scalp hair more in like the hair industry. So I'm wondering what are your thoughts on dry shampoo and how to properly use it? Let's start off with Tommy.
I like dry shampoo. I think it's great to get you through a day of not washing your hair. I'm always a fan of just doing it one day though. Like the girls that like layer it on over and over and over, I think it like clogs the follicle of the hair, and then you could begin to lose hair after a while. I definitely think scalp help and scalp like nutrients to your scalp is the way to go now. And we're finding and we're seeing that like it really does help the hair, and you get more hair, better hair, softer hair, shinier hair. Yeah, I'm a fan of just using it for a day and then washing it out.
David, what are your thoughts on dry shampoo?
My clients like Kate Hudson or Nicole Kidman or even a Sandra Bullock love. And how I tell them to use it is kind of different than anybody else's. It's like a little bit of dry shampoo and like a dry oil mist. Like the ones that are in cans, like I have them sprayed on because then it becomes a little dull, little lifeless. And then I always tell them to mist it. So you see the Kate Hudson wave, 30 days not washing, or Sandra with the curly hair. It's a combination. I don't necessarily just do the dry shampoo alone. I'll do the dry shampoo plus a subtle mist of not necessarily a silicone. It's not a silicone, like a rose mist or any kind of mist to like define it a little bit better.
Amazing. Felicia, what's your stance on dry shampoo?
So, Tommy, he really did hit on a point with the dry shampoo with the follicles being clogged, and the build up, the product build up. So, in my line of work, I don't get the opportunity to play with that too often, but I will tell you that the women who have thinner, finer hair love it because it gives them volume and makes it look thicker. And so those are the so if it's like a wet set or like a curly wet set and the person has thin or fine hair and they put the dry shampoo on at the base, it'll give it volume and just take like a little pick and lift the hair and it'll give it like bigger hair. So that's the way that I use it on the textures that I work with.
Amazing. And then Helen, how do you like to use dry shampoo?
Yeah, I love this question, by the way, because I've used shampoo, plenty on set at Fashion Week. But when I started acting here, because it's obviously hair wellness and scalp focused, it was really important to me not to use something like that. But time and time again, our customer was asking for dry shampoo. So I took it actually as an opportunity to innovate because we hadn't had a clean dry shampoo on the market. So we actually made ours and we launched last August, but it is the first ever scalp positive dry shampoo with only 5 ingredients, being rice and tapioca starch. So it doesn't, it's non-toxic to the bloodstream. We have fulvic acid, which actually draws out impurities and delivers nutrients to the hair follicle and the scalp. So it's actually benefiting the scalp while absorbing the oil at the same time. So I would just say stay away from the aerosols and try more for the natural approach to it.
Oh, I love that. What's the name of that? I want to order some right now. That sounds brilliant.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Yeah, it's incredible. It's
what's your
just
website again?
Called Act and Acre.
I love it. I'm buying it.
If you don't hear from David, he's on the website adding some to his cart.
As I'm doing it right now. Just sorry. I love hearing good tips like this.
And I have a question. I'm sorry, Helen. You said ACT, ACT, and AND?
ACRE. Yeah.
I'm just going to put in the chat if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Yeah. Amazing. Love this. This is what happens when we all get to connect over Zoom, the silver lining, right?
Oh my God, when hairdressers get together, that's all we do is like, people think we might be catty. That's the makeup artists and just that. The hairdressers are always like, can you give me some hairspray? I forgot my hairspray. Do you have an extra curling iron? That's how we roll.
Love it. Love it. So staying on the topic of hacks, what is your go-to hack when you're on set and, like something goes wrong, which inevitably happens? In a perfect world, it wouldn't, but, there's always roadblocks. Let's start off with David first.
I don't, honestly, it's always my hairspray. If I've got my hairspray, my toothbrush, again, Bob, depends on what I've done, depends on the style, depend on where I'm at. But like Felicia says, I am an accessory junkie. I was about to say something else, junkie as well. So if I'm having a disaster moment or if something's going wrong, I'll flip the look really fast, by maybe throwing in an accessory, or, if I'm having a frizz day and I just can't get rid of it, it's like, okay, I need 5 minutes. We got to change the look, So I'm not scared of changing it, Sometimes it's out of my control. It's humidity, right. It's wind, it's, everybody here knows that.
Tommy, what's your go-to hack?
Hot rollers. Like
Love
super
it.
fast, super easy. You throw in a hot roller and you make like a little Mason Pearson brush and some hairspray. It's a go-to. It's like, it works where it works. It's bouncy, it's pretty, it's shiny. It's so easy too.
Amazing, love it. Another nostalgic look.
They're coming back. They're coming back.
Love it, love it. Helen, what about you?
Yeah, I think like similar to the guys, where you have to be able to predict on set and be able to change just so fast like that. So having your kit ready, Evian water, the mist spray, like yes. That is my favorite thing because it doesn't squirt out. It's just a light mist and you can just get the right amount if you need to. If you don't have time to run back to set and like get something, water is seriously my best friend on set. And having just that, hook elastic to do a quick ponytail if you need to, always the baby elastics and your brush and your toothbrush, like David said earlier, is like key for set.
I love how we think alike. It's so crazy.
When you're saying that, I'm like, that's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
Felicia, what's your go-to hack on set?
A beard brush.
Ooh.
A beard brush. Because the girls love baby hair edges and edge brushes. But the beard brush for me, I can get the baby hair and I can smooth down all of the rest of the hair. And also I can take the beard brush if you have like curly hair and I can kind of put a little twist in it and give a little coil. And then the drawstring ponytails. I know they sound corny, but they're great because you can literally just pop it on and turn it into anything you want. So a little hair in your pocket and a beard brush and you're in there.
Love it.
Love, love, love it. Okay, so we did mention accessories a bit, but I do want to touch on them again. So what do you, like, I'm going to ask each of you, what is your like go-to accessory, like what accessory do you think like every person should have, whether it's next to their computer because we're over Zoom or it's in their purse? Let's start with Tommy.
I would say a classic like tortoiseshell beret, like those classic ones from like the 60s or 70s that like that you can just put in the back, the side, or clip the ponytail in. I like it darker too. Like I think it's just like an easy classic look that you can just kind of play around with.
Amazing. Helen, what about you?
Yeah, this is going to be a little different, but you do know the old-fashioned like hair nets?
Mm.
Then they're the French ones. Get one exactly the same hair color. And have you heard of ponytail? Wrap your hair in it and you'll have the most perfect bun, kind of like chignon, without a hair out of place in like 2 minutes. And it just looks like you've spent an hour doing this, but it's incredible.
Wow, that's an amazing tip. Felicia, what about you?
I have a few. I'm going to go really quickly. So I have my little kit just happen to be on the table.
Love it. Love
And
it. Love
I am a big fan of the nylon holders because they don't rip the hair out and you can pull them out really easily without pulling out the hair. And hairpins, colored hairpins, you can crisscross them. You can do different designs on the hair with them. And I love wire. I love wire because you can play with it and you do all kinds of stuff. I did like a little finger wave on a person with the wire on a photo shoot, and it was so much fun. So I keep that in my kit.
I love that. David, what's your favorite
I'm
accessory?
gonna do all of what they said.
Okay. I mean,
Seriously,
they all gave great answers. So,
great answers.
like,
Helen, a genius. I felt like I was in Paris, 1973, at a Chanel boutique. So that one is definitely all of them. Great ideas. Maybe a beret, bobby pins, clips, and any kind of accessory that'll just take away from the moment if you're having a bad day, you know?
I'm into the claw clip lately. Not gonna
Oh,
lie.
yeah.
Really just how I've been wearing my hair like every day when I'm working from home. So except for today, I did it, but yeah, definitely love the claw clip. Okay, so let's take things into the shower. So,
Ooh.
washing and conditioning your hair. Now more than ever, there are so many options out there. It's a confusing process in itself before you even get to styling. And it's also polarizing too, because some experts are like, you should only wash your hair once a week. And then others are saying you should wash it more. And I know it depends on like your hair type. But I'm wondering, let's start off with Helen. What is your stance on washing your hair? How often should you do it? Again, I know this answer could vary based on hair like textures and types, but would love to hear everyone's thoughts.
Like, that is the $1,000,000 question, I think. And we get asked it non-stop. And it really is, it depends on your lifestyle, number one. So if you're working out a lot, you need to wash your hair more often. And it depends on the product you use as well, because your scalp has a microbiome similar to your gut health. And if you're stripping it constantly with bad products like very stripping ingredients, then you're going to strip the microbiome and cause more issues. But then again, would you leave your skin 5 or 6 days without washing it? No, and your scalp is an extension of your face. So you need to treat it very similarly. So I'm saying like you don't have to wash it every day, but it's also okay to wash it. It's actually what you do to it afterwards, like heat tools and styling products that are actually doing the damage. It's not actually washing the hair.
For sure. Felicia, what do you think?
So in my field, textured hair looks better the older it gets. And usually, like, if you use the salon, leave the salon, your hair is straight, that first week, you're just, all the rage. So you look great. With textured hair, day 3, 4, day 5, it looks amazing. So I say once a week, but I also feel like a lot of women that I work with have really thick hair. And so when they do wash their hair, they put the shampoo on the hair and then it just kind of sticks and doesn't get to the scalp. And so then they go back and then they get their lather and they get, to the scalp, and then they rinse it out and they'll do a quick conditioner and jump out, and that's it. And that's not enough for the hair. So I'll often tell them to actually get a bottle with the sprout top and to take the shampoo and mix it with a little bit of water and dilute it and go through to the scalp itself and then start to massage it so that you actually cleanse the scalp and exfoliate the scalp. The hair is going to get clean. The scalp is what people miss. So if you do that once a week, you know, and like Helen was saying, if you work out a lot, because the sweat has that sodium in it, it's like salty and it dries the hair out. So you might have to do it every 2 days or every day in some cases.
Alicia, I love that idea of the bottle, because we always talk about water and emulsifying, and we talk about how to wash your hair as well, because nobody really knows how to wash your hair. I always say wash your scalp, don't wash your hair. So I love that idea. When can we get you on Actinator?
Yeah, and I actually make a calendar to help women know when to wash and condition and to deep condition, because people get confused. They're like, okay, well, I condition. What's the difference between that and deep conditioning? It's basically you just left it on longer and maybe you had a little heat, you sat under a dryer, you baked it in, you know, but I made a calendar because Helen, you're right. That question is just always the same. It doesn't matter how many times you answer it. You can Google it. People want to know how often they should wash their hair. So I made a calendar to make it easy for women to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we have time for one more question before we get into the Q&A, and I have left the toughest question for last. So this is going to be the hardest question I ask you all today. Okay, throughout your career, you guys have created many looks. What has been one of the most memorable looks, but has also been the easiest? Let's start off with Tommy.
The most memorable looks. Ooh, God, that's a hard one. You think about all the stuff that you did before. Goose. I would say like I would say one of the ones that was so easy and I got the most like press and whatever for it, when I did a braid. I just did a braid in the front of Ashley Olsen's hair years ago when they first moved to like New York when they were babies. And I just kind of like pinned up the rest of it. And it took 5 minutes. So many people loved it. You got so much like play on a simple braid and some texture.
I can't even tell you how many times I have tried to do that look when I was in my like early 20s. That was the thing for the time of side bangs. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service. David, what about you?
David?
Yes.
Oh, I've got 30,000. I'm sorry. It's 20 years of career. I wouldn't even know where to start. Kate Hudson, Skeleton Key in London. I had nothing to use but deodorant, liquid deodorant, and I used the blow dryer from the hotel. My favorite look, and I think Anna Winter named me the king of curls after that look, which took 3 minutes. I had no time. Michelle Obama, when I gave her bangs, that was probably one of my most epic and easiest hairstyles I've ever done. Angelina Jolie, when I swapped all her hair up after with the big green emerald earrings, I teased her hair prior. I had 5 minutes in the car. I pulled it up for the Oscars. Those were the 3 of the easiest looks I've ever done that I got most press for.
Wow, it's ironic how that happens.
Yeah, the easiest ones, the hardest ones, nobody pays attention to. Whatever.
So true.
Helen, what about you?
Well, I'm like David. I'm like, where do I even begin?
Yeah.
Because the stuff that I love is not necessarily what everyone else loves as well. So probably the one that stands out to me most is a show that I did for Ralph and Russo Couture Fashion Week in Paris. And we did 50 wigs, short black bobs on every single person. And it was incredible watching them all walk out on the catwalk, and everyone was so uniform in these ball gowns. And yeah, for me, that was just like beautiful.
I just got excited over that. I just visualized that. Oh.
And when you see your own work doing that, it's like, wow, okay, we did this.
Yeah.
Obviously, people, but it's just like everything was perfect.
And then afterwards, you're like, God, I am really good at what I do.
You are.
Felicia, last but not least, what about you?
Oh my God. I don't know that I have easy stuff. I'm always doing things that have some kind of architecture to them. So I think Tiana Paris did when she did the SAG Awards. it was like crazy. Everybody was like amazed at this because it was all structured and it was sleek, but then there were folds in all these different like intricate shapes with her hair, and so everybody kind of like lost it, and they didn't know completely who she was, but they knew that hair. They knew that hair, you know. But the great thing for me is on Insecure with Issa Rae. Apparently, we've created like 314 hairstyles. I just found out, yeah, the other day, and
Mm.
so yeah, and so those styles they're done in like 30 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Guys have ever seen the show. I have to kick those styles out quick. So I don't know they're easy, but what I will tell you, and it hasn't come out yet, it's her this next season. It's so much easier to make these big thick braids, slick the hair up, and just pop that braid on, and it looks like you really did cornrow the hair, but it's just done already. And
Love it.
you pop it on and put pins in it. So I don't know. I think that would be that's it.
I told you guys it was a hard question.
Yeah.
It's like picking your children, you know, like the favorite child, you know, like you guys have all done amazing looks over the years. All right, so now if anyone has any questions, we in the chat, feel free to add them. I do see there are some, so I will try to go through them. And I also forgot to mention too that this session is being recorded. So if there's any tips you want to go back and like get more detail on so you can try yourself, you will have access to it after today. So the chat is going off about tips for elevating fine hair. Does anyone have any thoughts or tips? I'm leaving it open for you guys based on like what you want to answer or like really gung ho on.
I got one thing for fine hair because I've been fortunate enough to get a lot of clients with fine hair. But you know, with my extensions, nobody really knows they've got such fine hair. I think it depends. If you've got natural, and guys, please step in and tell me if I'm wrong. If you've got natural color fine hair, get some color done. You know, get something bleach color. It's horrible for me to say, but you got to put a little damage in there to give you more volume. Definitely use the volumizing shampoos and conditioners that rinse off really well. Light conditioner, rinse off really well. And, you know, great volumizing shampoos, dry shampoos, you know, those are my things. But I think adding a little color, a little damage, horrible to say, it helps fine hair.
Right? It swells it when you color it.
Yeah.
So it gives it a thickness. Yeah, definitely. Like you don't have to like bleach it so much, but little fine highlights throughout the hair. Definitely. Like even like when I was growing up, I had much finer hair and a bit of highlights. Perfect. Done.
Yep. Look at Kate Moss. That says it all.
All right. There's also a question for shine spray recommendations. I know, Tommy, that was your tip. So if you have any recommendations that you would suggest, and then if anyone else has a favorite and want to chime in, we can go into that.
There's two I like. I like the Olaplex #7. It's actually an oil that you can put on your hands and run through, and you can keep adding in. It doesn't really sit on the hair too much. And there's a second one, which for finer hair, it's good. I like the Serge Normant dry conditioner spray. It's like a dry conditioner, like argan oil. So they kind of mist over everything. It's much less heavier than oils. So those are the two I like.
I've got one that's way more, little bit like, I don't want to use the word ghetto, but it's a little bit more low cost, let's just say, is Big Sexy Hair has a rose mist spray that doesn't leave your hair sticky or anything, absorbs really fast, but it's really good for women with finer hair because it doesn't, it absorbs like insanely and leaves the hair nice and shiny. But I do agree with Tommy on both of those items. Great items.
Yeah, and if you don't want to use product, I mean, it's funny how when you start using product at the beginning of your career, you very rarely change it. So Bedhead was one of the ones, the pink bottle, can't remember, the Queen for a Day, is that or something?
It's the best.
It's so good, right? It's so light. But if you don't want to
It's
use it,
sticky.
the trick is with your hair dryer to make sure the nozzle is going flat. So you get the cuticle to run flat, and that actually gives shine to the hair as well naturally.
Best tip ever. Best tip ever, Helen. That's a good one.
We have a question about how to deal with year-round frizz.
I have one, and this is like the cheapest trick on the market. You know the bounce tumble dryer sheets for like static. Well, using oil, and oil is much better. But if you like are on the road, you don't want to like take your oil in your handbag. Little tumble dryer sheet, just put it over. Static gone, frizz gone. Because it has that coating, you know, to put into the tumble dryer. It's a random one, but I always have it in my kit and just for set, and it's just so easy.
It works. She's right. It works brilliantly. You got to make that, Helen.
No.
Felicia, do you have any thoughts on frizz? I know with, you know, the coily hair types that word is often used negatively in relation to that curl type or that hair type, but really it can be very beautiful. But do you have any like tips on that?
I've been working with My Black is Beautiful Blue Ginger collection, and they make this amazing scalp and hair lotion that has aloe vera in it. And that, because I have crazy frizzy hair, not this hair, this synthetic hair, but my own hair. And when I put that on, it tends to mend the hair. It's almost like it kind of calms it down. It makes it feel like it can just go to sleep. You know? Um, and then also with the women that I talk to, they deal a lot. Their frizz is called, we call it single strand knots or fairy knots. A lot of times they'll loop each other or break and then frizz. And so argan oil is always one of my favorite healers when it comes to hair, and it's not so heavy. And I feel like just putting a little bit in the palm of your hand and using the praying hands is what really helps for my textured girls out there.
I love the pray hands, as I love that analogy. And also, while I have you, we have a question. What do you recommend for shine for natural textures? I would love to get your tips on that.
So for shine, I love just simply taking jojoba oil in a spray bottle and just kind of spritzing it like a little spray bottle, because with textured hair, it absorbs all of that. It'll like eat it. And then a few hours later, you look up and you're like, why does my hair look dull again? Because the hair is so dry, it just soaks it in. So a little bit of jojoba oil in a spray bottle and just kind of like spread, I would say maybe twice a day, 3 times, depending on how long your day is, will totally do the trick.
Okay, and that's amazing tip. We have time for one more question, and someone is asking, do any of you use or recommend clip-in ponytails or extensions? If so, what is your go-to brand or resource?
That one. I love them. So I'm going to just totally quickly tell you about 3 that I love. True and Pure Textures is incredible. True and Pure Textures. You can find them online and on Instagram. Great. Kinkistry. Kinkistry is really, really good. All textures. And Knappy Hair Extensions. That's Knappy hair extensions. Excellent, because when you want to have straight hair, it gives you like that blown out look instead of like that China doll silky hair look. And I think for my natural girls, they need to have something that looks more like their own texture of hair.
Right. Yeah, that's such a good point. Does anyone else have any favorites or tips for using them?
Who doesn't love hair extensions? They're so easy. They're so quick. It's like all brands, anytime. I find myself going into like places in Brooklyn to go get hair, and then you go to like super luxe places like the hair shop or something like that. It's like every time you see a hair shop, you just go in, like see what they have.
Fast.
I think there's a brand called Luxy Hair, and it's very flat, but it also has the clips, because sometimes it can be quite heavy and thick and like stand out from. This is like very, very flat. I like those ones. If I'm using them on set myself, I always do the tape because you get such a better and more seamless result. And then I've seen those like halo ones where it's got this string where it's so easy for someone at home to apply themselves. Or Felicia, those ponytails ones, like anyone can put them in their own hair. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love those halo because I just discovered that recently and I was like, oh, it's a magic trick. And I'm like, all things hair, and then that halo and it popped on. I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, I love it.
Amazing. So that's about all the time we have. I want to thank again to our panelists for offering their time and all of these amazing tips. Once again, if there's anything you want to go back and hear again, this session is recorded, so you will have access to it after the summit today. And thank you again to Glam Hive for having us and organizing this, and to our presenting partner, Mary Kay. So if you are joining the rest of the programming that Glam Hive is offering today, you'll have about a 5-minute break until the next session on the agenda. So thank you again, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their weekend.
Thank you, Erin.
Hey.
Having
Bye.
Fun. Thank you so much, everyone.